Have you ever found yourself in a relationship that feels more like an obligation than a choice? Maybe it's a friendship that has lasted for years, a family connection that feels heavy, or a romantic relationship that no longer brings you joy. You stay, perhaps out of loyalty, familiarity, or fear of change. But deep down, you know something isn't right. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime. While that realization can be painful, it is also liberating. The people we surround ourselves with shape our thoughts, emotions, and decisions. But what happens when a relationship stalls your growth? When it drains your energy instead of inspiring you? The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers powerful insights into this dilemma, guiding us toward the courage to make necessary but difficult choices. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus taught that true wisdom lies in choosing relationships intentionally, surrounding ourselves with those who enrich our lives and stepping away from those who hold us back. Purpose of the video. That is exactly what we are diving into today. 11 clear signs that a relationship, whether with a friend, family member, or partner, may be holding you back. This is not about cutting people off out of anger or resentment. It is about choosing wisely who belongs in your inner world. People who uplift, support, and align with your values. A relationship should challenge you to grow, not force you to shrink. It should bring you peace, not introduce chaos. By the end of this video, you will have clarity on how to evaluate your relationships through the lens of Stoic wisdom. Some signs may be subtle, while others will be undeniable red flags. Recognizing even one of these signs could be the wake-up call you need to reclaim your energy and peace of mind. Stay with me, because understanding when to let go might be one of the most important lessons you ever learn. Let's dive in. Have you ever felt like you are standing still in life, unable to grow or move forward? Maybe you have dreams, goals, or passions you want to pursue, but the people closest to you make that journey harder instead of easier. In Stoicism, personal growth is a fundamental pursuit. Seneca emphasized that a fulfilling life is one of constant evolution, of learning, improving, and striving toward wisdom. He believed that if we are not actively growing, we are, in some way, stagnating. So, what happens when the relationships in our lives become a roadblock to that growth? A relationship that stalls your progress is a warning sign. Take a moment to reflect on your personal evolution over the past year. Are you the same person today as you were a year ago? If so, is it because of the people around you or in spite of them? A strong, meaningful relationship should encourage you to explore your potential, challenge your weaknesses, and celebrate your progress. But if you hesitate to pursue opportunities or feel afraid to change because of how someone might react, that's a red flag. Some people, whether knowingly or unknowingly, hold us back because they fear being left behind. Instead of cheering you on, they make passive-aggressive remarks, downplay your ambitions, or discourage you from taking risks. The tree and the small pot. Think of yourself as a tree. A tree with strong roots still needs space to expand, to stretch toward the sunlight, to grow higher. But imagine being planted in a tiny pot, where your roots can't extend and your branches can't reach for the sky. That is what happens when you stay in relationships that limit your growth. You become stuck, unable to reach your full potential because the environment around you is too restrictive. The Stoics teach us to surround ourselves with those who encourage us to be our best selves. If someone resists your progress or makes you feel guilty for wanting more, ask yourself, is this relationship nurturing my growth, or is it stunting it? If a relationship is stifling your progress, it is not just inconvenient, it is harmful, and you deserve to grow. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained, as if someone just sapped your energy instead of adding to it? Maybe you started the day feeling fine, but after talking to a certain friend, family member or partner, you are left feeling anxious, frustrated, or mentally exhausted. According to Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In other words, your mind shapes your reality, and the people you surround yourself with play a major role in how you think, feel, and experience the world. The hidden power of negative energy. Some relationships bring joy, motivation, and inspiration, while others trap you in a cycle of complaints, gossip, and unresolved tension. If someone in your life is constantly negative, always focusing on what is wrong, blaming others, or stirring up unnecessary drama, that negativity seeps into your mindset, whether you realize it or not. But negativity is not always obvious. Sometimes it disguises itself as venting that never leads to solutions. Every conversation circles back to the same problems, but nothing ever changes. Sarcasm that cuts too deep. Their jokes always have an edge, and you walk away feeling worse. A bond built on shared frustration rather than shared joy. Your connection revolves around complaining, not celebrating each other's growth. At first, these patterns may seem harmless or even relatable, but over time, they shape the way you view yourself, your relationships, and your future. Are you losing more than you are gaining? A simple way to evaluate this is to track your emotional state after interacting with someone. Ask yourself, do I feel uplifted or drained after talking to this person? Do our conversations focus more on problems or solutions? Does this relationship encourage growth, or does it reinforce negativity? A healthy relationship should leave you feeling better, not worse. Of course, no relationship is perfect. Everyone has bad days, and sometimes we need to vent. But if most of your conversations revolve around complaints, gossip, or negativity, that is a red flag. How this affects you long term. Think about it. When you surround yourself with negativity every day, it does not just stay in conversations, it begins to shape your entire outlook on life. You become more anxious, more cynical, and less hopeful about the future. You start second-guessing opportunities, expecting things to go wrong before they even happen. You may absorb the negativity, adopting a similar mindset without even realizing it. Over time, this impacts your mental well-being, your decision-making, and even the opportunities you attract. What the Stoics would do. Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics believed in maintaining inner peace by being mindful of external influences. They taught that your environment, including the people you surround yourself with, either supports your growth or holds you back. If someone's negativity dominates your interactions, it is time to set boundaries or create distance. You are not obligated to absorb their outlook on life. At the end of the day, the quality of your relationships shapes the quality of your life. Choose wisely. A healthy relationship should make you feel supported, encouraged, and free to be yourself. But what happens when a relationship starts to feel like a power struggle? When someone else's wants, expectations, or emotions start dictating your decisions? Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, knew the value of freedom better than most. He famously said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." What he meant is that true freedom comes from being in control of your own choices, your own mind, and your own path in life. If someone in your life is controlling, manipulating, or constantly making you second-guess yourself, then you are not free. How manipulation shows up in relationships. Manipulation doesn't always look like outright commands or threats. Sometimes it's subtle, wrapped in the disguise of concern, love, or advice. It can appear as guilt-tripping, making you feel bad for wanting to do something that benefits you. Oh, so you have time for that, but not for me. Undermining your confidence, making you doubt your abilities or decisions. I don't think you can handle that. Are you sure this is a good idea? Silent pressure. They don't say no, but they make you feel guilty when you say yes to your own goals. Conditional love or approval. They support you only when you fit into their expectations. At first, these behaviors might seem harmless, but over time, they make you question yourself. They make you feel like you need permission to make your own choices, to follow your own dreams, or even to think for yourself. Are you truly free in this relationship? Ask yourself, do I feel like I have the freedom to make my own decisions? Am I allowed to pursue my goals without feeling guilty or pressured? Do I have to adjust my personality, ambitions, or values just to keep the peace? A true partnership isn't about control, it's about respect, trust, and mutual support. If someone truly cares about you, they will want you to grow, evolve, and thrive. They won't try to mold you into who they think you should be. What the Stoics would do. Epictetus taught that external forces, whether people, circumstances, or expectations, should never have power over our inner world. If a relationship is making you feel trapped rather than empowered, the Stoic response is clear: reclaim your freedom. Because at the end of the day, a relationship that limits your potential isn't a relationship worth keeping. Respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship, whether it is a friendship, romantic partnership, or family bond. Without mutual respect, a relationship is not just flawed, it is unstable, unsustainable, and ultimately damaging. The Stoics believed that respect for oneself and for others is non-negotiable. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of treating others with dignity, while also ensuring that we do not tolerate those who repeatedly disregard our worth. How disrespect manifests in a relationship. Disrespect is not always loud or obvious. It does not always come in the form of insults or shouting. More often it is subtle, wrapped in sarcasm, dismissal, or indifference. Ask yourself, are your achievements dismissed? Instead of celebrating your success, do they downplay it, ignore it, or make you feel like it is not a big deal? Oh, anyone could have done that. Are your opinions disregarded? Do they talk over you, mock your ideas, or refuse to listen when you express your thoughts? That's ridiculous. You don't know what you're talking about. Are your emotions invalidated? When you express frustration, sadness, or excitement, do they belittle you instead of acknowledging how you feel? You're overreacting. That's not even a real problem. You're too sensitive. One of the biggest signs of disrespect is when someone makes you feel like your feelings, ideas, or presence are a burden rather than something to be valued. Respect is not just about words, it's about actions. Many people claim to respect you, but the real test is in their consistent behavior. Do they listen when you speak, or do they just wait for their turn to talk? Do they support your goals, or do they subtly try to undermine them? Do they make time for you, or are they always too busy until they need something? Do they apologize when they are wrong, or do they get defensive and blame you instead? Respect is not about occasional kind words. It is about how someone treats you over time. What the Stoics would do. A Stoic approach to relationships is not about demanding respect. It is about recognizing when it is missing and making choices that honor your worth. If someone consistently treats you as less than, it is not a temporary issue, it is a pattern. And patterns do not change unless the person wants to change. The bottom line. A relationship without respect is like a house without a foundation. It may stand for a while, but eventually it will collapse. You deserve to be surrounded by people who value your presence, listen to your voice, and appreciate your worth. And if someone in your life does not respect you, then respect yourself enough to walk away. A healthy relationship should be a place of comfort, trust, and openness, where you can express yourself freely without fear of being judged, attacked, or dismissed. But what happens when a relationship starts to feel like a constant game of emotional survival? Maybe you feel like you always have to watch what you say, avoid certain topics, or suppress your true thoughts and feelings just to keep the peace. Over time, this does not just make the relationship stressful, it makes you feel trapped in your own life. A relationship shouldn't require you to suppress who you are. The Stoics believed in living in alignment with one's true nature, that you should not have to bend, shrink, or hide just to fit into someone else's expectations. If you are constantly walking on eggshells, ask yourself, why do I feel like I have to filter everything I say? What happens if I express my honest feelings? Do they listen, or do they explode? Do I feel emotionally safe in this relationship, or am I always in defense mode? In a healthy relationship, disagreement is normal, but fear is not. If you are afraid that speaking honestly will lead to an angry outburst, silent treatment, or guilt tripping, then you are not in a supportive environment. You are in an emotional minefield. People who care about you won't weaponize your emotions. A major red flag in relationships is emotional manipulation, when someone uses your own emotions against you. This can come in many forms. Guilt tripping. After all I've done for you, how can you say that? Passive-aggressive comments. No, it's fine. I guess I'll just deal with it alone. Overreacting to honest conversations. If expressing your feelings always leads to defensive arguments, you may start avoiding difficult discussions altogether. This type of manipulation trains you to suppress your emotions, to avoid conflict at all costs, and to prioritize their comfort over your own well-being. The eggshell test. Are you rehearsing every conversation? A simple way to check if you are walking on eggshells is to notice how much mental energy you spend preparing for conversations. Ask yourself, do I rehearse what I'm going to say before bringing up even small issues? Do I mentally prepare for their reaction, already adjusting my words to avoid setting them off? Do I feel relieved when the conversation is over, rather than supported or understood? If the answer is yes, then this relationship is not built on mutual respect and open communication. It is built on fear and emotional restraint. What the Stoics would do. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, and choices. If someone's behavior forces you to constantly censor yourself, that is a sign that you need to take back control. A strong relationship should allow you to speak, feel, and exist freely. If that is not the case, it may be time to step back and reassess whether this relationship truly serves your well-being. Because your peace of mind is more valuable than anyone's fragile ego. A healthy relationship should make you feel stronger, not weaker, more capable, not more doubtful. It should be a source of encouragement and empowerment, helping you see your potential rather than making you question it. But not all relationships function this way. Some people, whether intentionally or not, chip away at your confidence through subtle or direct actions. Over time, their words and behaviors can make you question your abilities, doubt your worth, and feel incapable, even when you are fully capable. If you have ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller instead of inspired, this could be a sign that someone in your life is undermining your confidence. The best relationships reinforce your self-worth. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Relationships shape us in ways we often do not notice at first. Ask yourself, do they celebrate your successes, or do they downplay them? Do they support your ambitions, or do they make you second-guess yourself? Do they offer constructive feedback, or do they just point out flaws? The Stoics believed that we become what we surround ourselves with. If you are constantly exposed to criticism, doubt, or negativity, it is only a matter of time before you start internalizing those beliefs. At first, you may brush off small comments or jokes, but over time, these patterns can erode your self-esteem, making you feel like you are never quite good enough, even when you are. How to recognize this pattern? If you are unsure whether someone is uplifting or undermining you, compare how you feel about yourself before and after spending time with them. Do you feel motivated, energized, and inspired after talking to them? Or do you leave conversations feeling smaller, insecure, or less sure of yourself? A healthy relationship should leave you feeling empowered. If a person's words and actions consistently make you doubt your abilities more than they uplift you, that is a red flag. Subtle ways. Someone can undermine your confidence. Undermining behavior is not always obvious. Often, it is wrapped in false concern, disguised as humor, or delivered under the pretense of honesty. Here are some common phrases that chip away at confidence. I'm just being honest. A phrase often used to justify harsh or unnecessary criticism. Are you sure you can handle that? Instead of support, they plant seeds of doubt in your mind. It's not a big deal. Dismissing your achievements to make them seem insignificant. Comparisons to others. Why can't you be more like someone else? Backhanded compliments. You actually did really well on that. I'm surprised. At first, these comments may seem harmless, but over time, they reinforce self-doubt and insecurity. What the Stoics would do: if someone is consistently making you doubt yourself, they are not just affecting your confidence, they are affecting your inner peace and sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius believed that we should surround ourselves with those who support our growth, people who see the best in us and push us to be better. A true friend, partner, or family member will believe in your potential and encourage you to reach it. They will offer guidance without making you feel small and celebrate your growth rather than downplay it. If a relationship is missing these qualities, it may be time to reassess whether it is truly serving your well-being. The bottom line. If someone in your life makes you feel less sure of yourself, ask yourself why they feel the need to do that. Are they genuinely helping you grow, or are they trying to keep you small? Do they challenge you in a way that inspires growth, or do they make you question your abilities? The Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within, but that does not mean we should tolerate constant discouragement from those around us. Surround yourself with people who build you up, not tear you down, because at the end of the day, your confidence is not something you should sacrifice for anyone else's insecurities. A healthy relationship, whether it is with a friend, family member, or partner, should be built on mutual support, respect, and effort. It should never feel like a burden you are constantly carrying alone. The Stoics believed in balance and reciprocity. Seneca taught that friendships should be genuine and beneficial to both parties, not transactional, but also not one-sided. If a relationship is exhausting you rather than enriching you, then it may be time to step back and reevaluate. Friendship isn't about keeping score, but it shouldn't be draining. Of course, relationships will not always be perfectly equal at all times. Life happens. Sometimes one person needs more support and the other gives more. That is a natural part of human connection. However, when this imbalance becomes the norm and you find yourself always being the one putting in effort, something is off. Ask yourself, are you always the one reaching out first? Do you constantly adjust to accommodate them, but they rarely do the same for you? When you need support, do they show up for you, or do they disappear? If you are always the one initiating, supporting, or compromising, is the relationship truly balanced? The silent test. Would the relationship exist without your effort? A powerful way to evaluate a relationship is to pause your effort for a while and observe what happens. If you stopped reaching out, checking in, making plans, or offering support, would the relationship continue? Or would it simply fade away? If they do not even notice your absence, that is a clear sign that your effort was the only thing keeping the relationship alive. If they react only when they need something, it might mean that you were being used for emotional support, convenience, or validation. If they genuinely reach out to reconnect, it shows that the relationship has a foundation beyond just your effort. What the Stoics would do. A Stoic approach to relationships is about choosing wisely where to invest your energy. If a relationship is consistently one-sided, then you are giving away more than what is healthy. Marcus Aurelius believed that we should focus our time and attention on things that truly matter, on people who contribute positively to our lives, rather than those who only take. The bottom line, relationships should be a mutual exchange of energy, care, and effort. If a relationship is draining you rather than nourishing you, it is okay to step back and reprioritize, because a true connection should never feel like a solo effort. Every relationship, whether it is with a friend, partner, or family member, will have its share of disagreements. Arguments are inevitable. Even the Stoics, who emphasized emotional control, understood that conflicting opinions and needs are part of life. But here is the key difference. Healthy relationships resolve conflicts and move forward. Unhealthy relationships keep repeating the same fights over and over again. When disagreements become a cycle instead of a resolution, something deeper is at play. Arguments are inevitable, but cycles of conflict are not. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. If two people respect each other, they work toward understanding and resolution. But if you find yourself stuck in a loop of the same arguments, the same frustrations, and the same empty apologies, then it is a sign of a deeper issue. The signs of an unhealthy conflict cycle. A conflict that never truly gets resolved often follows predictable patterns, ignoring the real issue. Instead of discussing the root cause, the conversation gets derailed into blame, defensiveness, or distractions. Dismissal. Your concerns are brushed off with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "This isn't a big deal." Weaponized apologies. They say, "I'm sorry," just to end the argument, not because they truly want to change. Broken promises. They assure you things will be different, but nothing actually changes. Bringing up old wounds. Instead of finding solutions, past mistakes get constantly recycled, making resolution impossible. When conflict is about control rather than connection, it becomes an exhausting and endless cycle. Is the apology real, or just a reset button? A real apology leads to changed behavior. A fake apology is just a pause button, meant to quiet things down until the next inevitable argument. Ask yourself, if someone keeps hurting you in the same way and apologizing every time, is the apology genuine? If nothing changes, is the apology real, or just a tactic to avoid responsibility? A person who values the relationship will actively work to improve, not just apologize and repeat the same mistakes. What the Stoics would do. Seneca wrote that wisdom lies in understanding human nature and making rational decisions. If someone repeatedly dismisses your concerns, refuses to change, or turns every discussion into an attack, it is a sign of emotional immaturity, not a healthy relationship. The Stoic perspective is clear. You cannot force someone to grow emotionally if they are unwilling to. Some conflicts aren't meant to be endured. They are meant to be a signal that it's time to walk away. The bottom line. Arguments in relationships are normal, but endless cycles of the same unresolved issues are not. If you find yourself stuck in the same patterns with no genuine change, it may be time to ask, is this person actually interested in solving the problem, or do they just want to avoid accountability? Because real growth and real love means learning, adapting, and improving, not just apologizing and repeating. In any meaningful relationship, whether it is with friends, family, or a partner, you should feel safe and accepted for who you truly are. A relationship should embrace your authenticity, not force you to change, shrink, or filter yourself just to make someone else comfortable. But what happens when you feel like you're wearing a mask in a relationship? When you have to edit yourself to avoid judgment, rejection, or criticism? If you constantly adjust who you are to maintain harmony, that is not acceptance, it is control. True acceptance versus conditional acceptance. The people in your life should accept the real you, not just an edited version they prefer. You should never feel like you need to tone down your personality to fit their standards. Your opinions must always align with theirs to avoid arguments. You can only show the good parts of yourself while hiding your struggles or emotions. When someone only embraces certain parts of you but rejects the rest, that is not real acceptance, it is conditional approval. And conditional approval is not love, it is control. Epictetus' wisdom, freedom in being yourself. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was born a slave and later gained his freedom, deeply understood the value of authenticity and self-liberation. He once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In relationships, true freedom means being able to express yourself fully, without fear of judgment, punishment, or withdrawal of love. If someone only loves you when you behave a certain way, their love is a contract, not a connection. The filter test. Are you constantly editing yourself? A simple way to assess whether you feel free to be yourself is to ask, do I filter what I say to avoid conflict or judgment? Do I feel exhausted after spending time with this person because I have been suppressing my real self? If I fully expressed my true thoughts, emotions, and quirks, would this person still accept me? If you constantly feel like you need to adjust, hide, or shrink yourself, then the relationship isn't about who you are, it is about who they want you to be. What the Stoics would do, Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus both emphasized the importance of being true to oneself rather than conforming to the expectations of others. If someone in your life requires you to be someone you are not, it might be time to ask yourself, why am I trying so hard to fit into a version of myself that isn't real? A healthy relationship should bring you closer to yourself, not further away. The Stoics teach us that the only way to find true inner peace is to live in alignment with who we truly are, not who someone else wants us to be. The bottom line. If you feel like you can't be yourself, then you are not truly free in that relationship. And as the Stoics remind us, without freedom, there is no happiness. The people who truly love and respect you will never ask you to change your essence. They will celebrate it. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the pursuit of inner tranquility. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, believed that peace of mind is not just desirable, it is essential. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This principle applies directly to our relationships. A healthy relationship should bring balance, stability, and a sense of calm, even during difficult times. But when a relationship consistently disrupts your inner peace, it is time to step back and reevaluate. Is the relationship bringing you more stress than peace? Take a moment to reflect on your mental and emotional state within this relationship. Ask yourself, do I feel calm and supported, or anxious and on edge? Do my interactions leave me feeling recharged, or do they drain my energy? When something good happens in my life, do I feel excited to share it, or do I hesitate because of how they might react? A relationship should not feel like an emotional battleground where you are constantly defending yourself, managing someone else's emotions, or recovering from hurtful interactions. If someone consistently makes you feel stressed, guilty, or exhausted, then the cost of maintaining the relationship might be too high. Letting go isn't failure. It's a courageous act of self-respect. Many people stay in unhealthy relationships because they fear that walking away means giving up. But Stoicism teaches us that letting go isn't about failure, it's about self-respect. When we recognize that a relationship is harming us more than helping us, we have two choices: stay and endure the stress, hoping things will change. Step away with wisdom and courage, prioritizing our mental and emotional well-being. Sometimes, choosing yourself is the hardest thing to do, but it is also the most necessary. The Stoic approach isn't about harboring resentment or cutting people off in anger. It is about realizing that some relationships simply no longer serve our growth. The final test: is this relationship worth keeping? Here's a simple but powerful exercise to clarify your decision. Close your eyes and imagine your life without this relationship. Do you feel a sense of relief, calm, or even freedom? Or do you feel genuine sadness and regret, knowing that the relationship is still valuable despite its challenges? If the thought of removing this person from your life brings you peace rather than pain, that is a sign that your inner wisdom is telling you something important. What the Stoics would do. The Stoic path is about aligning your life with tranquility, wisdom, and purpose. If a relationship is disrupting that balance, then Marcus Aurelius would remind you, you have power over your mind. And that includes the power to choose the people who deserve a place in your life. The bottom line: if a relationship consistently costs you your peace of mind, it is no longer just a difficult relationship. It is a barrier to your well-being. And choosing to let go isn't giving up. It is an act of self-respect and emotional wisdom. Every strong relationship, whether with a friend, family member, or partner, should be built on a shared foundation of values. When two people respect and align with each other's principles, they create a relationship that is stable, meaningful, and fulfilling. But what happens when your core values are fundamentally different? Even if everything else in the relationship seems fine, you will always feel a deep sense of conflict beneath the surface. Never compromise who you are to maintain a relationship. The Stoics believed that virtue, living in alignment with your values, is the highest good. They taught that our character, integrity, and principles should never be sacrificed for the sake of keeping the peace. Marcus Aurelius reinforced this idea when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be one." In other words, it is better to stand firmly in your values than to bend yourself into someone else's version of who you should be. When someone pushes you to abandon your values, A person who genuinely cares for and respects you will support the values that define you. However, a person who is not aligned with your journey may dismiss your moral compass. You're too rigid. It's not a big deal. Encourage you to do things against your beliefs. Everyone does it. Why are you so serious about it? Make you feel guilty for standing your ground. If you really cared about me, you'd let this go. Contradict your core principles. If integrity, kindness, or honesty are important to you, but they thrive in deception, cruelty, or selfishness, you will always feel uneasy in their presence. Over time, this misalignment creates internal conflict and emotional exhaustion. The incompatibility test. Are your values in conflict? Ask yourself, do I feel like I have to compromise my integrity to make this relationship work? Am I often defending my values rather than being supported in them? Do our fundamental differences cause constant internal conflict? If the answer is yes, then it is time to accept that this relationship is not meant for your journey. What the Stoics would do, Epictetus taught that we must focus only on what is within our control, and that includes who we allow into our lives. He reminded us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This means that if standing by your values makes someone criticize you, reject you, or pressure you to change, so be it. The cost of betraying yourself is far greater than the cost of losing a relationship that doesn't align with who you are. The bottom line: a relationship can survive different personalities, interests, and backgrounds, but it cannot survive a fundamental misalignment of values. If someone forces you to become someone you are not, it is not a relationship. It is a battle for control. And the Stoics remind us, the only battle worth fighting is the one to remain true to ourselves. Letting go of a relationship, whether it is a friendship, family bond, or romantic connection, is never easy. Even when we know a relationship is no longer serving us, the fear of change, guilt, or emotional attachment can make it difficult to walk away. However, Stoicism offers a powerful perspective. Letting go does not have to be an act of anger or resentment. Instead, it can be an act of understanding, wisdom, and self-respect. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we have control over how we interpret events. He teaches that choosing not to feel harmed prevents us from being harmed. This means that the way we perceive the end of a relationship is entirely within our control. We can either see it as a betrayal or failure, or we can view it as a necessary step toward growth and peace. When we let go with wisdom, we do not need to carry bitterness or blame. It is not necessary to label the other person as toxic or hold on to resentment. Instead, we can acknowledge that this relationship no longer aligns with our well-being, and that is okay. Not everyone we meet is meant to stay in our lives forever. Some people are lessons, some are temporary companions, and some are simply walking a different path than ours. Recognizing this allows us to release relationships with clarity instead of hostility. If you have realized that a relationship is no longer beneficial to your growth, there are practical steps to let go with wisdom and strength. First, step back emotionally before making a final decision. Before ending a relationship, take time to detach emotionally and view the situation with rational clarity. Ask yourself if you are letting go out of wisdom or temporary frustration. Consider whether the relationship is truly unfixable or if there is room for healthy change. Stoicism teaches that decisions should be based on logic and long-term well-being rather than fleeting emotions. Second, set boundaries, not as punishment, but as self-care. If you decide to create distance, it is important to establish clear and firm boundaries. This is not about punishing the other person, but about protecting your peace. If necessary, limit contact with them. If they ask why, calmly explain without blame or hostility. If they resist or try to pull you back in, stand your ground and prioritize your well-being. Third, release without bitterness. The ultimate sign of emotional strength is the ability to let go with peace. Instead of holding on to resentment, wish them well in your mind and heart. You do not have to forget the lessons, but you also do not have to carry the weight of negativity. Letting go is about freeing yourself, not about changing the other person. Epictetus reminds us that we can only control our own choices, not other people's behavior. If a relationship no longer aligns with our values, peace or growth, the Stoic path is clear. Let go without anger, set boundaries without guilt, and move forward without resentment. Letting go does not have to be dramatic or filled with conflict. It can be quiet, intentional, and full of wisdom. At the end of the day, releasing what no longer serves us is not an act of loss, but an act of self-respect and inner peace. As we wrap up, it is important to remember that Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from choosing relationships intentionally. The people we surround ourselves with influence our mindset, emotions, and personal growth. While some relationships uplift and inspire us, others hold us back, disrupt our peace, and prevent us from becoming the best version of ourselves. If you recognized any of these 11 signs in a relationship, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself whether this relationship aligns with your values and well-being. Your inner peace and personal growth matter. You do not have to stay in a situation that drains you or makes you feel small. Letting go is not about resentment or judgment. It is about honoring yourself and choosing the environment that allows you to thrive. If this video helped you, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you do not miss future content on Stoic wisdom and self-growth. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this message. It could make all the difference for them. And finally, I want to hear from you. Have you ever let go of a difficult relationship? What helped you make the decision? Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Thank you for watching, and remember, the quality of your relationships shapes the quality of your life. Choose wisely.